no one really cares about this. This is not a big deal.
All right. First of all, I'm having a conversation. I'm not using that voice when I have it.
He's not talking about you, Chris.
This is the problem with Democrats. You can be weird or you can be pretentious, but you can't be both. And Democrats are weird and pretentious, right? Like a good example, we were talking about this on Flagrant. Remember that stupid haircut I had?
Sure.
You remember where
Which
I
one?
shaved the sides?
Oh, yeah.
Which one? You've had a few.
Yeah, but the stupidest one. The one where I basically,
For
it was
a
like a
roll?
bowl cut.
But it was for a roll.
Right. If somebody came up to me like, why do you have the haircut? And I was like, what, do you not understand fashion? Do you not understand luxury? What the fuck? What are you, a Nazi? Like, how dare you judge his haircut? People would be like, shut the fuck up, bro. You got a weird fucking haircut. Stop acting like, and that's Democrats. But if somebody came up to me and they're like, what's up with that haircut? And I go, I know it's kind of odd. It's just a fucking weird thing. I was trolling people and like people really annoyed about it. So I just doubled down. Then immediately those people go, oh, I get it. That's kind of fine. If you disagree with Democrat rhetoric, some of it, not all of it, some of the rhetoric, the extreme rhetoric, the reaction is, what are you, a Nazi? What are you, hateful? What are you, a bigot?
Well, we've been doing that to each other, but see, that's...
I'm not saying Republicans don't do it. I'm just saying that this is the reaction. What you have to do is when you have some things that aren't really common sense, latinx, when you have some things that are just...
They sacrificed it all at the altar of identity.
But why aren't you listening to Latinos?
But
Latinos were the main people saying don't use Latinx.
Because they don't care.
You even keep saying Latinx. I never even heard that term.
I know. It's just the whole thing. Like, for example, remember when there was like these stories of like the drag queens teaching kids how to read?
Yes.
And if a dad or mom goes, yo, why are there drag queens teaching kids how to read?
Don't call me homophobic,
Transphobic.
transphobic, because of that shit.
Explain that shit. It's weird. It's not like we ain't all go to kindergarten.
And maybe this makes me pretentious. Maybe it makes me elitist. I just don't think it really. Look, I just talk.
No, Chris, I want you to finish what you're about to say. You don't think it what?
Impacts people's lives in a real way.
But it impacted the election.
Okay.
Even if it don't impact your life, it impacted the election.
This is the biggest cop-out. This is the biggest cop-out. No, I'm telling you it is, because when you say it doesn't impact people's lives, may I finish?
It doesn't.
May I finish?
Yeah.
If you just double down. What you're telling me, this is the messaging I get, right?
Right.
I'm telling you, this is a deal to me. And what you're telling me is that I'm weird. This is the pretentiousness that is so baked into Democratic politics that drives people crazy. I'm telling you, hey, I don't understand this and it makes me feel a little uncomfortable. And you're going, no one really cares about this. This is not a big deal.
Right.
What does you care about
It's
this?
like shut up and dribble.
Shut your mouth and dribble.
What you mean?
And
Because I'm asking questions?
And the second you do that to the majority of the country, which is what you're doing, they start going, man, fuck these guys. Let's Trump fix this whole shit. These motherfuckers went too far. I can't even ask a question. When I do, they act like I'm stupid.
I don't think Schulz is wrong, Chris. I don't think
I'm
you're
just
wrong.
telling you.
I don't think you're wrong either.
First of all, I'm having a conversation. I'm not using that fucking voice when I have it.
He's not talking about you, Chris.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that what you're saying
Chris is fragile right now.
Chris
is fragile. Chris is going to be okay.
Yeah. See, it's annoying. It's annoying when people act pretentious, huh?
Chris, you can't do this for 4 years. You're not gonna make it, bro.
I'm telling you, get on board.
Stress yourself out, man.
Get on board.
No, we're not getting on board.
Wait, what?
Listen, just we're all Americans. We want what's best for America. Now, I like these conversations because guess what? There is a midterm in 2 years. Then there's another presidential election in 4 years. Maybe if he does the right thing.
Can I throw a real quick? Let me throw a real quick idea. Real quick idea. Wait, Chris. Real quick. If we get rid of term limits, bring Barack in for the third term.
No.
Now we talking.
No, I want the Constitution to keep doing what it's been doing. I want people to respect the Constitution.
Respect the Constitution. There's no third term. I 100% agree. 100%. Miles, look at me. Get me on. There you go.
But Chris, you said something earlier, and I just was saying it may not impact people. I agree with you. I don't think that issue impacts people's life like that. Right?
I'm saying,
but it impacts an election. And that's what
and I'm speaking to the people who let that impact them, and I'm saying focus on something else.
No, you should say that to the politicians.
How pretentious is that? How unbearably pretentious is that?
Listen.
Somebody's knocking on your ceiling, right? Yeah. You live on the 3rd floor. The 4th floor person is tap dancing on your ceiling, and then you go, "Hey, man, that's a little bit bothersome." And they go, "It's not a big deal to most people. Just get over it." Most people don't really care.
But you know what's so crazy, Show?
They care.
I think we're forgetting what wins elections, Chris. It's always these one or two things. Sure. Like, remember when they said they tried to say George Bush had a DUI from the 70s one year? It's always like one or two things.
There was a man beating up women in the Olympics and won a gold medal. And when people were like...
Well, it wasn't a man.
No, they just came out as a man. It was approved.
No.
They just came out as a man. It was approved. 100%. Internal testes, no menstrual cycle, XY chromosomes. The testing just came out.
Said it was XY chromosome.
No, they didn't. They weren't sure, and they called everybody transphobic for even assuming that it was. And then they also questioned like the Russian authorities for releasing some tests and that they're trying to game the Olympics. And then I'm
gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about that shit.
All right,
because what we have learned is talking about those micro issues has caused macro problems.
Exactly.
What you mean exactly? We're talking about Democrats.
He don't see it. He don't see it. He don't see it. They gonna keep losing. They gonna keep losing until they realize this.
By the way, Chris, we've had this conversation off air a million times.
This is the conversation I have at every Thanksgiving and Christmas. Everyone in my family is working class, votes for Trump, MAGA, all that shit.
Oh, hell
that's
yeah.
What he's worried about. He's crazy.
Hell yeah.
I'm saying this is
did you feel the power when he said it? That shit. That felt liberating when you just said that shit, didn't it?
I say to all those people that I say to my own relatives, there's a line from Shakespeare, "Thou doth protest too much." You guys are awfully worked up about this shit.
So you see what he just did?
Nah, I disagree.
No, hold on. Charlamagne. You see what he just did? He said...
He called us all Fraggle Maggots.
Calls us Fraggle Maggots. Yo, this is the pretentiousness of the Democratic Party. If you disagree with me, you're gay.
Nah, I disagree.
He said, if you disagree with me, you're gay.
I've told you this, Chris. I'm pretty sure I told you, Schulz.
7 swing states.
Mopped up. That's true.
Mopped up, my boy. Keep that condescension going.
When we go to my daughter's a competitive cheerleader. I'll never forget this conversation as long as I live. My daughter's a competitive cheerleader, so we always end up in these obscure places all around the country, mostly in Jersey. We end up in Atlantic City a lot. I like Atlantic City. I like going to Oceans. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a cool spot. You go out there, have some fun, right? Like it's a cool place to have some adult fun with the kids go with. So we're at dinner. The kids are at one table. All the adults are at another table. It is the most diverse table. We look like the fucking United Nations. It's like me and my wife, a black couple. It's an Indian couple. It's a Muslim couple. It's white couples. It's Jewish couples. Like we're just all sitting there eating, drinking, whatever. And somebody gets on the topic of furries. And
Weird.
How furries.
99% of furries are Democrats, guaranteed.
But then furries turn
There's not one single Republican furry.
But then furries turned into a whole conversation about just gender identity and everything else. Chris, every single person at the table does not understand it. They think it's strange.
That's cool.
It's not nobody being transphobic.
That's cool.
They just don't understand. They want to know why is this just being pushed on kids. Like they want to know. Like they're trying to figure. They don't want the teachers talking to their kids about it. Like,
hey, so if a furry, imagine we were saying that about furries, and then furries was like, you know what it sounds like while they're sitting in they got a lion costume on, right? And they're looking at you and be like, "Thou doth protest too much." Sounds like you want to be a furry. Sounds like you want to dress up as a squirrel. No, I don't. You're just a grown-ass man dressed as a possum walking around a fucking casino. That's weird.
But Chris and Schulz, y'all forgetting one thing about this conversation. I said it was parents at the table. You know who got the biggest issue with this shit? The women. So are they Fraggle Maggots?
Because we've been telling them for years, stop being furry down there. Now all of a sudden, furries is it.
All I'm simply saying is we spend too much time talking about micros and not enough time talking about macros.
Well, micros might be macro to us.
They are during an election. But Chris, we're talking about the Democrats, though.
So here's the thing. To me, it's not about a single issue. It's not about furries. It's not about pronouns. It's not about whatever. All these issues are indicative of a greater cultural shift that lacks common sense for people. Here's what I'm trying to say. Most of us don't really have corporate jobs here. I mean, I guess you guys do work for a corporation, but
definitely have a corporate
you
job.
get to do whatever the fuck you guys want. The average person that just walks in, they're doing sales at iHeart or whatever, they're walking around and they're going, okay, should I start with my pronouns today? Can I make this joke around these people? Am I allowed to wear these shoes? Are these shoes considered racist? Like, what is going on? Am I culturally appropriating if I get cornrows? Like, what the fuck?
I just taught a class at a major university where I'm supposed to give my pronouns at the start of the class. You know what I did?
What?
I said, my name's Chris Morrow. I don't say he, she.
So you said, fuck him.
I said, fuck it. It's goofy. I know it's goofy.
So, Chris, why are you mad at me? You're proving Andrew's point.
I just handled it in 1 second. I just said Chris Morrow and I kept it moving.
But yeah, but you didn't get challenged. What if one of those little motherfuckers would have been like, excuse me.
Yeah.
What is your pronoun?
I'd be like, I don't think it's important for me to share that.
Talk that shit,
can I not
MAGA.
say
Disagreeing with
Talk
it.
that shit,
It's
MAGA.
not a big fucking issue.
My point is this.
I got
is that-
protested at Harvard for that shit, Joe. I got protested at Harvard.
And now what's
You know
happened to
the
Harvard?
story.
Now
I went to Harvard, and they was like, Charlamagne, these kids think you're transphobic, you're homophobic. I'm like, why? Let's have a discussion about it. I'm
Yup.
like, let's not run from it. Let's
Yeah.
not just let them be mad.
Yup.
They can come in. I'm a
Yup.
big boy. I can take the heat.
That's it.
Until we sit down and have the conversation.
And then what happened?
So why I want you know what? By the way, that was like 8 years ago. I want to know where all them little motherfuckers are now.
Where are they?
So I go.
They working for
I go,
Pfizer?
why am I transphobic and homophobic? One kid stands up and goes, because you said, how come people can understand Caitlyn Jenner but don't understand Rachel Dolezal? Right? Because if you remember, it was a back-to-back weeks. Caitlyn was 1 week, then Rachel Dolezal came out the next week. All I simply said was, hey, if Caitlyn says she identifies as a woman and Rachel saying she identifies as black, why shit on Rachel?
Gender and race are both social constructs.
To me, that's what I would think. Like, that's common sense. Guess what the second thing was? Okay, so that was transphobic. Why am I homophobic? Because you was interviewing Young M.A. and you said to Young M.A., hey, shorty give you head and she deep throat. But how? And so Young M.A. said with a strap on. And you said, isn't that like getting a tattoo on a fake arm and acting like it hurts? So that makes me homophobic and transphobic?
No, it makes you have common sense.
I'm just asking some questions here.
Do you see? And that's why Uncle Donnie T is about to take their endowments. Bye. Bye, Harvard. Bye. Bye, Uncle Donnie T is about to take that endowment so you could stop teaching these nonsense shit bull. They stop destroying these Ivy League
And this was before
institutions.
Trump.
And now
This was like 7, 8 years ago.
snatch
Maybe
endowments.
longer.
Snatch your endowments. Snatch your. You bet your daddy better be able to make a library. Your daddy better be able to build a library for you to go to that fucking school. My point is, Chris, you can't be weird and pretentious. Nobody wants to be talked down to by a
Right.
furry. Okay?
Nobody wants to be talked down to.
Nobody wants to be talked down to at all.
That's right.
But if you're a normal person, you could talk down to me. If you're just being normal and I'm being abnormal and you talk down to me, I go, all right, I kind of get it.
A normal person wouldn't talk down to you, though.
Oh, let me say it like this. Let's say we're all behaving at a restaurant and then somebody's just acting like an asshole at a restaurant. If somebody goes, why are you behaving like this? We're all at a restaurant trying to have a good dinner and you're here acting a fool. I might be upset, but you got a point. You know what I mean? Like, I'm acting like an asshole and you're acting normal.
Yeah.
But if you are the furry at a restaurant talking down to me, fuck out of here.
By the
bro.
way, and they're still doing it now. I'm watching people every day, just every single thing that comes out from the Trump administration. It's just like they're just so up in arms about this. It's like, yo, as I said earlier, there's going to be some people who are completely right, and there's going to be some people who are completely wrong. Let's let it play out because we are here now.
All these
We're here
little,
now.
All these little micro things that we're talking about, we can agree are micro, but it is the overall sentiment that there are hundreds of little micro things that we disagree with, naturally, that the majority of people disagree with, but we feel afraid to talk about, that is exhausting to the average person. And they're just like, we need to change this shit. I'm over it. I'm done. That is the sentiment of the average person. While we agree they are micro things, but it is the overall sentiment that these micro things are dominating the cultural conversation and people feel exhausted.
How come we don't give corporate America more shit? And I'm going to tell you what I mean
Talk
by
that shit.
Corporate America, the entertainment industry, Hollywood, like any industry, right?
Flip-flopping nonstop.
Because there was a time when all of these conversations first started happening, if we could just actually talk through these things without fear of any consequences, we would have got somewhere a lot farther. But because corporate America would react so swiftly, because Hollywood, entertainment, any industry would react swiftly, you get fined, you get fired, like all of this shit, cancel culture. Like soon as you you say the wrong pronoun or you say the wrong thing, immediately people are on your head. If those entities would have did what they're doing now, which is shutting the fuck up, right? And letting people work things out, we would have been past this a long motherfucking time ago. Now I feel like corporate America realizes the mistake they made. Because I feel like, damn, we let go of so many good people. We fell victim to so much cancel culture and we buckled for a lot of things we probably didn't have to buckle to. Am I wrong, Chris?
No.
I don't know what to tell y'all, man. I hope that we don't make the same mistakes that we made back in 2016, because another thing that happened in 2016, Trump won, and it was an immediate reaction from everybody. I feel like people felt like since Trump won and they couldn't keep him out the White House, they punished everybody else.
But now I feel like the honest reaction from the majority of people is this is a cultural reset that we need about all these little micro things. The macro things might end up being horrendous. Geopolitics might be horrendous.
The economy might
be horrendous.
That's what I'm telling Chris.
But
is he not saying? What did I tell you last week?
But
yes.
what I'm agreeing.
Yes,
there might be. We don't know if it will or won't, but it might be. But the average American is feeling right now, we need a reset from all these little micro things. It's enough. Okay. There's no more fucking common sense.
So now let's talk about those macros you mentioned.
Yeah, let's talk about
the macros. Yeah. And you said the right thing, Schultz.
Talk to me.
It will or it might not be.
Let's hope
I'm hoping for the best.
Let's hope for the best.
I'm hoping for the best
too.
When it comes to geopolitical politics. I'm hoping for the best when it comes to all of that stuff. Guess what? There's going to be a side who's right about that.
And there's going to be a side that's
who's wrong. The micro shit, the weird shit,
we need that.
Y'all lost that, but they lost that.
It's
you
over.
lost. It
it's
cost
over.
you a fucking election.
It cost you an election. Maybe
it
two.
It cost you an election.
Maybe two.
Maybe two.
Maybe three. May cost you term limits. Maybe.
But these macros, because I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you the good thing about these macros.
Yeah.
To that point you just made, Donald Trump has control of all three branches of government right now. All three. The Senate, the House. He put 3 people on the Supreme Court. He's probably going to end up putting 2 more. The motherfucking Alito and Thomas are going to fucking probably retire. Probably going to put in 3 more because Democrats, once again, making the same mistake. Sotomayor won't step down, even though I think she's getting a little push. And she's like, no, I won't resign. She needs to step down now so they can add somebody, right? So he might end up having 3 motherfuckers on the Supreme Court. That is a 9-2 conservative majority along with the House and the Senate. Donald Trump.
Which I don't like.
But listen, though, Donald Trump has all the Infinity Stones, at least for 2 years. There's no excuse. Every single thing that happens in this country for the next 2 years is on Donald Trump and the Republicans. So if they fuck up, there's nobody to blame. There's nobody to point to. So all his supporters, Wall Street, everybody, that's going to be the person that they look at. That's going to be the person that they aim at. It's actually the best case scenario if you're a person that doesn't like this administration. Because if they fuck up, it's all on them.
All on them.
So if the economy crashes 18 months after he gets sworn in, if there's wars all over the country, people already got their mind made up. Oh, we don't want 2 more years of this shit.
But if it works out,
it's over.
It's over.
Chris, if it works out,
it won't be a Democratic president for decades.
Decades. It'd be like Reagan, after Reagan, we didn't get another one for what? 8 years?
No, this is your bed, though.
12. Yeah, after Reagan, we didn't get another one for 12 years.
Exactly.
It was two terms of Reagan. Then his VP got 4 years. Then fucking came Big Bill.
Big Bill. Generational talent.
Chris, don't let this shit stress you out, man.
Stick man.
Let's pay some bills and then come back and do all means necessary. Chris, don't let this shit stress you out. You're gonna fucking drive yourself crazy.
Come on, brother.
It was fine until I walked in here. I haven't read the paper.
We aim to please.
Thank you.